Hello, welcome back to The Rules Are Fun, the show where I read the rules so you do not have to. Today we are looking at Asmodee's game Timeline, a fast-paced card game for 2 to 8 players aged 8 and up, which takes about 15 minutes to play and will pit players' historical knowledge of events against each other in this fun and educational game. Now, there are a few different versions of Timeline. You can get the set which focuses on historical events, for instance, or music and cinema. There are others which include inventions and science and technology, but the gameplay is the same for each set. Each game of Timeline revolves around these event cards. Now, these are historical events, inventions, scientific discoveries, for instance, that will be printed on one side. Flip over the card, and you will see the date that this event occurred. Cards range from the fairly obvious to the simply ridiculous. For instance, the start of World War I versus the invention of the baguette. So all players, even supposed experts in history, will find this game challenging. Setup of the game is simple. Each player is dealt 4 or more cards depending on how long you want the game to go for, and there is one card placed in the middle of the board. All cards are dealt to players with the date side face down. Under no circumstances is a player allowed to check what date the events in front of them have occurred. The card in the middle is flipped over when the game is ready to begin, and the date revealed to all. Starting with the youngest player and working around clockwise, players will take it in turn to place one of their own event cards either before or after the date that is on the table, showing they believe that their event took place either in the years before or the years after the card that is in play. For instance, 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea was written after the start of the Hundred Years' War. Players will then flip over their card and check the date. If they are correct, then their card stays where it is in the middle of the table, and they are down one card in their deck. If they are incorrect, however, the card that they played gets discarded, and they have to draw another card from the pile. The object of the game is to be the first player to get rid of all the cards in front of them, making you the winner of Timeline. One last thing to remember is that if a card is played and it has exactly the same date as the card that it was played next to, as long as it is adjacent to the card, either side, before or after the event, will be considered accurate. So that was the super brief instructions on how to play Timeline. Now for why you should play this game. This game is particularly interesting because while it starts off very, very simple, with certain events being obviously before or after others, as the game progresses, more and more events go down, and it becomes more and more difficult to place your event perfectly between the other ones on the board. This has the effect of making even expert players second guess themselves, and the tension mounts exponentially as the game goes on. Now, undeniably, the other benefit to a game like Timeline is the educational takeaway. The more you play the game, the better you'll be able to sequence historical events and hopefully learn a little bit more about our history. It's fun, it is easy to set up, it is portable, and because the dates are printed on every single card, it is not as challenging as a straight-up trivia game where you either give the right or the wrong answer. In Timeline, even beginner players can have a stroke of good luck, a draw of good cards, and otherwise enjoy the game alongside expert players. Each game is 15 minutes, which means you can play it a whole bunch of times, and you can extend and customize the game simply by adjusting how many cards each person is dealt. So I hope you found that quick tutorial interesting, and we here at The Rules Are Fun will see you in another time. So I hope you found that quick tutorial. Blah, blah, blah.